Now we begin with the next concept, that is budgeting. So once you complete the forecast, you have a reasonable estimate. And if you remember the last statement which we prepared in the forecast, that was a kind of a budget for the coming period, okay? So, but let's not go in such a vague term and let's understand clearly what is budgeting. So, precisely saying, budgeting comprises the estimation of the cost, setting up of an agreed budget, and lastly, managing the actual and the forecasted cost against the budget. This whole thing comprises a process of budgeting. The budget that identifies the planned expenditure for the project or the portfolio program. You can see the budget is going to lay out the expenditures in detail, what expenditures the entity expects to make to fulfill a particular project, to reach its goal of achieving that project. What are the costs which are going to be, various costs which are going to be incurred in reaching out to that project. It's a baseline, or you can say it is that standard against which the actual expenditures are going to be mapped, and a further analysis will be conducted. Why was the actual cost lesser or higher compared to the budgeted cost? And that terminology is the variance analysis, but that will take up in the next session. For now, understand this thing. The budget is a baseline, is that standard which you're setting up against which your performance, your actual performance is going to be benchmarked, is going to be compared to. So what's the importance of budget? So whatever is the importance of budget from the company's perspective, it's also important for you as a project manager. There's no deviation over here like we had in forecast, where the entity's forecasting objectives were different and it was a different objective for you to understand. No. Here, the entity's objective of preparing a budget and sticking to it are the same one as you as a project manager should have in mind. First one, obviously, cost estimation. That's a basic function of budget. It lays down the entire cost in detail one by one and gives you an entire summary of what is the estimate of the total cost which is going to be incurred for completing this particular project. Prioritizing the use of limited resources. Now, resources, they are always going to be constrained. They are always going to be a bottleneck for every organization, irrespective of how much of money the company has. There are certain exceptions to that rule, but in most of the cases, resources allotted to a particular project manager to a particular project are going to be limited. And you have to determine what's the best use to, or you can say, where is the optimal use of resources going to happen now. That's why it's important for you to prioritize the use of these limited resources. Which areas are going to be giving you more fruitful rewards, which are going to be more productive, more efficient, which are going to be less productive, less efficient, ignoring, or you can say putting those areas in the C category rather than diverting them in the A category. Next is the future planning. Now, future planning, don't get confused with this term yet, okay? I know future planning was a part of forecasting. How is it ending up in budget will be a question in your mind. So once you have a project going on, an existing project, it's important for you to always keep a track of what's the expected cost going to come up, what's the expected budget going forward to complete the project, okay? Many times it happens that sometimes if a project is of 6 months and you had estimated a total cost of $100,000, by the time you reach only 1 month, you have already spent it $50,000. There can be tons of reasons for that, but yes, for the remaining 5 months, you do need a good amount, and here this future planning helps you. How does it help you? It makes sure that you have a readily available amount, that what is the future needs going to come up, at which point of time, how much funds are going to be required, and you can anticipate those in advance, prepare for those in advance, and make sure you have the arrangement for those funds prepared in advance. That's why the future planning concept is important, or you can say is a part of budgeting concept. You can say based on these things, you can understand that the company's objectives for preparing a budget are same as you have as a project manager. I'm not taking an example right now over here because I want to cover the example along with the variance analysis, where we have a one single stretch, a full length example where we prepare a budget from scratch, compare it to the actual, and dive a bit deep into the variance analysis. That is, dig deep. What were the reasons for the various changes? We can say the deviation from the budgeted cost. With this, we complete the theoretical part of budgeting, guys.